Hey G fans, GojiFan93 here, and I'm here to give my thoughts on the Godzilla vs. Kong official novelization. So I just got finished listening to the audiobook version for the novel, and I just gotta say, I'm blown away. This novel, or just the way that they've expanded the story for this movie, it's fantastic. I mean, it actually really is a fantastic read or listen to really expand the story of Godzilla vs. Kong. And through this novel, you get so much, information and backstories and motivations and stuff that just was not present in the movie. And I understand that they had to keep the movie at a limited theatrical time or whatever, but I don't know, man. I wish that they would have had an extra half hour or something on the movie to just get you to care a little bit more about these characters, because with what's in this novel and the information that they provide, they definitely make you care about so many of the characters this time, way more than what it was like on my first and second viewing of the film. And obviously I'm going to forget a few things. I'm not going to go through the entire novel and the differences in that, but that's why I strongly recommend going to Wikizilla's article about Godzilla vs. Kong, because again, just like the other novels, there's a differences from the film list. And when you read that list, it's so cool to see all of the stuff that was either adapted or changed a little bit from the movie, but also the stuff that was added. And the really cool thing is that even in the first few chapters of this book, it doesn't even start where the actual movie starts. It's 3 chapters or so of complete new stuff, and stuff that was that got you more information and the backstory of what's going on. So again, for instance, one of the cool things that I thought was Alan Jonah is actually in this story, unlike in the movie where he was completely absent. He actually, the story actually tells when Alan Jonah meets Walter Simmons to sell him the Ghidorah skull. So, just there is something that's really cool that you could have made that a 3-minute scene in the movie. Again, it bothers me so much that this stuff is not in the films, but regardless, it's here now, and I guess I can imagine what it would look like in my head. But it does make the movie better, obviously, because now I have all this information. So that was a really cool scene. There's actually one chapter that's all dedicated to, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the main character who lost his brother when he went into the Hollow Earth, how he got smushed by the gravity. There's a whole chapter that is about that event. It's so cool to actually hear what happened in that event there. And then also Gia's experience when that storm came over and just completely destroyed all of the people on Skull Island, and the native people. Stuff like that just needs to be told, because it's context. It's stuff that gets you ready for the actual main event, and it just gets you to care a little bit more. I already liked Gia though in the movies, but this book really makes you understand her more as a character. She has a lot more screen time, I guess I would say. She just has a lot more dialogue in the novel. And I really like her character in the book. So the other cool thing about this is the Godzilla side of things. You get a lot more of Godzilla's personality in here. They talk a lot about how, Godzilla was actually fighting all these other kaiju beforehand during the, I guess I would say, his, the Dominion time, where he was trying to, and I've actually gotten this wrong many times. I've misinterpreted it. But actually, it's really where Godzilla's not killing all the Titans. He's actually just sort of putting them back in their place and restoring the balance in that way. And that's why he gets so annoyed with, and I know that the movie sort of spells it out, but in a way it's also, it could get, lost in translation, but that's why Godzilla gets annoyed, because the Ghidorah skull is being used to, basically rev up Mechagodzilla. So that's why Godzilla's getting all pissy. And then the fact that he fights Kong is because Kong is not where he's supposed to be, and Godzilla gets threatened by that. So, and then I guess it also helps the final battle when Godzilla is on top of King Kong and he's, roaring at him saying submit, basically. And instead of killing him, which is why I was always confused, why didn't Godzilla just kill him? It's because Godzilla's just saying, look, I'm the top dog and I win, go back home or whatever. So, you know, again, the book just gave me a lot more context to really how Godzilla works in the Monsterverse, and it made me appreciate him a hell of a lot more. And then with Maddie from, you know, King of the Monsters, I felt in the movie, Maddie and her dad had absolutely no role in the film, in my opinion. Like, they just were kind of side characters and nothing really happened between them. And the fact that they had a whole movie beforehand in King of the Monsters, we got all this character development and all that stuff for them, and then now they just don't do much. But with the film, or with this novel, they go so in depth on why Maddie is the way that she is and the way that Mark is and all that stuff, and Mark has a bigger role in the novel actually than he does in the movie. So it was nice to see that he got more screen time, and the fact that Maddie going on this whole conspiracy hunt with the podcast guy. The podcast guy is still a little cringy in my opinion. There's still a lot of cringy dialogue that's just from the movie, but overall it just, I got more invested in their story than I did when I watched it. So I got more invested in it when I was, listening to the story rather than actually watching it. So again, I'm not going to go by play-by-play with the story, but overall though, this novel is fantastic. To be honest, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it is actually my favorite novel out of the whole Monsterverse series so far, and it actually is getting me very, very much hyped for Godzilla x Kong when it comes to the novel version of it. I still have no expectations for the movie, but when it comes to the novelization, I'm actually very excited to see what they'll do with it and how they'll propel the story. So it was a really good listen. I listened to the audiobook. The audio narrator did a really good job. It was a different narrator. I don't remember his name, but I'll put it here. But he did a pretty good job. I liked the other one a little better though. The narrator who did King of the Monsters, I think he did a little bit of a better job. But this one wasn't bad. It wasn't too distracting or anything. And again, it was done by the same author of the last one. And the way that he describes things and the way that he describes the monster fights are really great. So overall, this is fantastic, and that pretty much concludes my journey in looking at all the Monsterverse extended material stuff, except for the stuff that's coming up soon in terms of like the comics and whatnot. And again, I don't know, I said it in the last video where I was talking about the comics, I don't know if I'm actually I'm not as excited for the comic books, because I feel like I just don't get a lot out of them, and I don't know, that's just my own problem. I know other people might have issues with that, but I personally just don't get a lot out of comic books. But definitely the novel I'm excited about for the new Empire and whatnot. But that pretty much does it for my thoughts, guys. I'm totally ready now. I'm caught up. I'm more into the universe now. I'm ready for Godzilla x Kong, the new Empire. I still have my reservations about it, but I'm a little bit more excited about it than I was before. So even though it hurts me to say that this extended material is needed to really get into the Monsterverse, it definitely has made me appreciate the series a lot more than just the movies on their own. So that's pretty much it for me, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Stay big, G fans.